The Economic Partnership Agreement between Kenya and the United Kingdom is an agreement that will help us to transit Kenya's trade with the UK from the framework that we've had before, which is a framework in Europe. As you know, the United Kingdom exited Europe, Brexit, everybody knows that, and the transition arrangements will end by the 1st of January next year, which also means that all the trading arrangements that the UK had with other parties, they've had to conclude trading agreements. So Kenya has agreed and has decided to negotiate an economic partnership agreement with the UK start at present, which we hope, and it is intended that the other East African countries also join. What that does is that it secures Kenya's trading relations with the United Kingdom after Brexit. The United Kingdom is our fifth largest trading partner. We export nearly 40 billion worth of goods to the UK each year. They send us about 35 billion worth of goods each year. And this framework is significant because it is one of our, because a lot of our people rely on that market. So it was imperative that the government secures that market in the context of Brexit. Now, in terms of what we have negotiated, this framework is based on the Economic Partnership Agreement with Europe that we concluded in 2016. Kenya signed in 2016. Rwanda also signed, but the other East African countries haven't signed. But all of us concluded the technical negotiations together in 2014. So what we've done is translate this current agreement, take out references to Europe and put in references to the UK. So it's basically an agreement that focuses on trading goods. And what we've done in it is secured the market for Kenya's exports. Two, what we've done in it is also secured the flexible rules of origin that enable us to industrialize. We don't always have raw materials in Kenya for everything that we that we manufacture, and we rely on imports. If it is iron and related products, we don't have iron in Kenya. But out of this agreement, because of the flexible rules that enables us to import raw materials from elsewhere, process them here, and then sell to the UK, we can realize greater industrialization. An example may be textiles. We import a lot of fabric from other countries, but then we stitch it here and then sell. So we are able to use those sort of flexible rules of origin. The third thing that we've negotiated is created a framework for resolution of technical barriers and phytosanitary matters. I think many of us read about it. A lot of times our goods might face interceptions because of SPS-related measures, residue levels, for instance, in vegetables and other crops. But right now we have a framework for resolving those matters before there is, closure of the market. A third feature of it, we've also secured the agreement with regard to fisheries. Fisheries was a critical feature even in our EPA, in our EPA agreement, and we've also ensured that we can continue to sell our fish to the UK in the context of this agreement. So it's basically an agreement that is focused on trading goods and fisheries, but also has a component of development assistance that will enable us to support our supply and our participation in this export market. So that would touch on perhaps investment in infrastructure, investment in capacity building for our technical institutions like the Bureau of Standards, the KEFIS, and other related such bodies, because a lot of times we might get a market, but if our farmers don't have the capacity our farmers or our institutions don't have the capacity to support these exporters, then it's not a market that is, that is there in reality. So the development assistance is really intended to support institutions such as KEFI, such as KEBS, such as KRA, that support our exporters. So in our view, it's a very flexible and a brilliant agreement that will support our trade and support UK companies who want to invest in Kenya, because they also have a certainty of the markets that they want to sell to.
Mm-hmm. Maybe in this development assistance, how is it going to work?
The UK is one of our largest development partners, and I know everybody is going through challenges, especially with COVID. But in this agreement, the UK has maintained its commitment to continue partnering with Kenya. Now, the areas it covers are broad. It's not just trade. They cover education, they cover health, they cover security, and that will continue. And that's the sort of thing. Most trade agreements don't have a development cooperation angle, but it's been important to ensure that we have it as part and parcel of these agreements. Right now, we export about 39 billion shillings worth of goods to the UK. Some of our goods come to the UK from other countries, say through Germany, like coffee, for instance. Now, if we were to once we have this deal and we ramp up investment, in our estimation, if we were to even capture 5% of the UK market of the goods that we produce and export, in our estimation, our exports could be more than 3 trillion in a very, very short time. And we've done the assessment in the National Export Strategy. For instance, if with coffee, if we export it, right now we only sell about $7.8 million of coffee to the UK, and yet we are a coffee producer. And that's only less than 1% of the UK market. If we went for up to 5% of the UK market, that would be a billion shillings of coffee exports. Tea, about 60% of the tea drunk in the UK comes from Kenya, but we can increase that. For things like pulses, for things like herbs, for things like honey, these are goods that Kenya is competitive in. So our estimation is that if we were to realize even 5% of the UK market, those numbers would be in excess of 3 trillion shillings in terms of exports. But what is required for all exporters is the certainty of market and the environment. So we are focusing really, this deal gives us the certainty of market, and investors in Kenya, farmers in Kenya should be able to grow their crops knowing that there is a ready export market in the United Kingdom. Yeah. Kenya is a member of the East African Community. It's a founding member of the East African Community. Kenya negotiated the Economic Partnership Agreement with Europe with other East African countries. In negotiating this agreement with the UK alone, this was not the desired path. We would have liked to negotiate with the other East African countries, but we had a deadline. We had a deadline of 31st December 2020, after which the terms of trade with the UK would have been less favorable to Kenya than other East African countries, because Kenya is classified as a developing country. So the cabinet decided that we proceed to negotiate an agreement with the United Kingdom, but provide in it a possibility for accession by the other East African countries, because the UK would have also liked to negotiate with the entire region as one. But our partners were not ready to negotiate this in time for 31st December. We actually we all proposed in East Africa an extension of time to try and do it by the end of next year. But there was no possibility, there's no framework that would be available for Kenya to trade with the UK under favorable terms. So it is our ambition, and we shall share this agreement that Kenya has reached. We shall share it with the other East African countries. And upon their studying, we've invited and we have notified them that they are welcome to accede to these agreements, because East Africa would like to have a trading agreement with the United Kingdom as one. We have completed the technical negotiations and processes. We have done the legal scrubbing, and we look forward to signing the agreement as soon as possible. And as soon as it is signed, it will then be presented to Parliament for ratification, so that we can implement it from the beginning of next year. Now, those are very tight. Those are very tight timelines. And I'm looking forward to and asking all the parties involved to work with us to ensure that we meet these deadlines.